This one's kind of new to me right now. It's not like any ordinary like Netflix special. This shit actually fucking happened. Watched Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer story. This shit. This actually, who doesn't know about this? To be honest, it's kind of insane. I was trying to figure out what to actually talk about when watching this show. I'm a lost of words. It's pretty insane. They actually show like how he grew up and everything, and like what was his mind thinking, and his whole process and why he loved it. It was a lot of gruesome and disgusting scenes and everything that kind of like there was actually see like right now like this is not even me, like there's no script or anything. I'm just like saying it straight through, just what I saw and what I remembered. Like I there were scenes that actually got me feeling sick. Like no joke. Like obviously seeing a lot of these deaths were terrible and just so fucked up. There was a scene that actually made me feel sick. Like I like generally like making me like a little bit sick. And it, it baffled me the fact that all this shit actually happened. The fact they did that to all those victims is just insane. Um Jeffrey Dahmer in this show, played by Evan Peters. He was an American Horror Story, mainly playing a role of a ghost of a school shooter in I think Murder House, and I don't think I like that. That was his like first casting, but like I'm pretty sure that I've noticed him from another casting, like from American Horror Story. I'm pretty sure because Murder House I don't really remember as much, but I think Evan Peters did a like phenomenal job on how to portray Dahmer in a way. Like he pretty much he acted very dull and and like he got his voice right because like I've saw documentaries about Jeffrey Dahmer, and the dude is like just straightforward, no emotion, just gives you what you need to know. And Evan Peters like portrayed that very well. It's it's insane. Like this is like a first for me. This is something that you're not really supposed to enjoy, even though like the acting and the story was like phenomenal. It it is just like a loss of words on like how they put this mini series together. Throughout every episode, I think like the first 5 episodes, they kind of show you how how Jeffrey Dahmer pretty much like grew up, and and how his life was, and pretty much how he got that mentality of actually killing people, and even eating people and everything. It's from him starting up, uh, trying to find a hobby. Not even trying to find a hobby. He lived life. He just technically he was just very antisocial, like to an extent. It was a limit. He never talked. He had no relationship with his mother whatsoever. And his dad was the only one that actually spoke to him, but his dad was always busy from work. Jesus Christ. I hate the fact that I'm trying to make a very serious video and then there's so much noise going around. My ferrets are making noise and shit, and I don't know what the fuck's happening upstairs, but I'm just gonna keep going. Uh, he had a relationship with his dad, I guess like a little bit growing up, but his dad always worked, and his mom just never had a side eye on taking care of Jeffrey. Like she did drugs. She never really paid attention to him whatsoever, and once again, he didn't do much anything. He went to school and went home all the time. Uh, I remember that he saw roadkill for the first time. There was something that was smelling bad in his house, and then they found like a dead possum under the house, and pretty much that's when Jeffrey Dahmer decided to like actually get intrigued in something. And his dad was just like, it's fine to like look through like roadkill and stuff because they pretty much dissected animals like in school and stuff. So it was just like it's fine to like be intrigued on what's actually inside of animals, etc., etc., blah blah blah. That's when Jeffrey Dahmer decided to like actually like get involved in that. He always liked finding roadkill and just dissecting just how they looked, how the organs looked, how they felt, and his dad helped him out because his dad was he wanted his son to have something. He's like he literally like told his wife at the time that like this kid has nothing. This kid he's not doing anything. He wanted him to have something, and he looked like he had fun doing it. So I was just trying to intrigue him with that, and it led to more than just that, of course. Because like we all know like what actually happens. Um, this is still crazy the fact I'm talking about this shit. Like this is a real like murderer, an insane one at that. Uh, it's said by the articles and even from the show that he killed like 17 people because of just like how many IDs he had on him, and he had all the victims' IDs, um, including the 14-year-old. Like that's insane. But the thing is that that's as much as that we all know. Who knows how many people he actually like killed? Because unless he confirmed it, unless Jeffrey Dahmer actually confirmed it with, the police and everything, letting them know that hey, these are the many people that I fucking killed, and he knows it. But like most likely, he said that most of the times he'll be drunk when he's doing it, even though he knows that he was doing it. He doesn't know like the exact amount. He could have killed more. We just don't know for a fact. But that's is all that we know. They actually hurt and killed 17 people. It mind boggles me. I was actually reading a lot of articles and I was doing a lot of research on it. Um, Evan Peters actually felt extremely uncomfortable doing this role. He actually did not like he said this is one of the most biggest roles that he's ever had um like ever doing like for of his acting career so far. He did not yeah, he obviously did not like doing it, but he just knew how to actually portray him. He even listened to like police reports. He read a lot about trying to get that role on point. Try to get the good feeling of like um portraying a certain role on trying to be on point and to play the character. It just sucks that um it had to be someone that was extremely disgusting, and it's like a real fucking story about it. Like when you look at like all these fictional characters in horror movies, um as much as that we're playing a role in like characters that just murder other people, it's all fake near the end of the day. But this is something that a lot of people are actually talking about. It's weird because you're this is a mini series that you're not really supposed to enjoy. You're supposed to just watch it. And it's weird saying that. It's just how I said it. You're not supposed to know what Jeffrey Dahmer did, even though everyone knows what he did. You're not supposed to try to understand Jeffrey Dahmer. You're just there to watch it. That's really it. And I feel like just it's just the idea of when you're watching the show, is like, okay, this is what was in like in my head when I watched the whole entire show. Like from any murder that he did, I'm watching it like this actually happened. Like this is how it went. This is how it went down. And Evan Peters said that he pretty much needed a lot of help on trying to forget on all these roles because he had to go to a dark place to actually play this certain role. And he said that technically, like the casting, the crew, everything behind the scenes, they were all like fantastic people. So they probably got him into a happier place and try to forget about becoming this specific character. And this is why, um, as a person that's trying to grow up to be an actor like myself, I would say that this was something to actually like learn from. The fact that if I end up growing my life as to become an actor and they want me to play a specific role, I have to actually like, become that person right when the cameras turn on. And for this specific role kind of scared me. Kind of actually gave me like a wake up call like this is how serious it has to be. And it can really mentally like mess you up. It's a lot to take in. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know. It's kind of I feel like this specific video, I wanted to actually like talk about the show and explain to you like how I truly felt watching it and what for you guys to expect when it comes to watching this show. If you guys haven't really watched it, make no mistake though, Evan Peters is like a fine form here. He really is. Playing a role was like probably destined to play since like his first casting in American Horror Story. But Dahmer has like an expression of someone's vaguely confused but curious about, like he once again what I said earlier that he's always dull. He never really had that type of emotion or anything. And and the thing is that like uh how he lured people in. He was like this nice guy. That every victim that got hurt and killed and everything, they looked at Dahmer like he was like a nice guy. No, no, it wasn't like think about it though. This was during like the '80s, even like a little bit of the early '70s. All that like it was terrifying, but like back then it wasn't like, oh yeah, you're not like a murderer or anything like that. This guy's nice to me. He's asking me like, oh, come to my grandma's house. Like I can grab my keys to my car and I'll jump you like for your car. And that also happened. And then like there was a couple other people that were just like, oh, this guy seems nice. I met him at a bar and he bought me a drink and he did all this other stuff. It's just like this guy was extremely nice. And then one thing led to another. He drugged a lot of people and then like there were certain bars that they they banded they banned Jeffrey Dahmer to even ever show up again because he drugged like two people or whatever, and some of them were lucky enough to live, and some of them were just like you're kind of curious about. Like my brain works in a completely different way. When I was looking at some of the scenes of like him harming some of the people that actually lived through Jeffrey Dahmer, and I wouldn't say went back to his house and actually escaped because there was only one person. His name was Tracy. He lived. He was the only person that actually came into his house. Got threatened by a knife and everything. Sort a big knife at that. Was being touched sexually and was being freaked out by Jeffrey Dahmer by showing him The Exorcist 3, and he was showing it on the screen, and he always watched that movie every day. Every single day he watched that movie, and it's very disturbing, and let alone not really that much of a good movie, to be honest. And that's just me just being a reviewer of horror movies, but like he watched that movie a lot, and he was showing Tracy like that movie, and Tracy tried to figure out a way to escape. He was freaking the fuck out. His heart was beating so fast, and like Evan Peters did this thing where what Jeffrey Dahmer did was pretty much he did like a weird cuddle, and pretty much he had like one leg over the other man's leg, and then like pretty much he would like to hear his heartbeat, and he would get turned on by that because he's actually picturing the hearts and everything. Once again, he was a cannibal. He had several like hearts and bags and stuff. Like Jeffrey Dahmer was a sick person, not in a good way. He was a sick person, and 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 Tracy was freaking out. He was trying to figure out a way to escape at this point. He was being very flirtatious the whole scene, and he really wanted Jeffrey to fall for it. Certain scenes where he's like, "Oh, grab the camera." When he goes to his room to grab the camera, he starts to run towards the knife where Jeffrey placed it, but the camera was actually next to the door, so he just grabbed it and came back real quick and did not notice that Tracy was trying to go for the knife. He's trying to escape at this point. Um, it led to a lot of certain scenes to really took effect on me in a way where I was baffled the fact that all this happened, and it really led to Tracy escaping. He got away on actually hurting Jeffrey, and I think he knocked him out a few times. Well, not fully knocked him out, just made him dizzy and everything, kind of him in the ground so he couldn't really get back up. He did it twice, and then he opened the door and completely ran and kept saying help, 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 and that's when the infamous arrest happened, and people were like insanely pissed off and kind of knew that Jeffrey was a sick person that really needed to go out on. He it I would say like some of the survivors that did not know that Jeffrey Dahmer was Jeffrey Dahmer, pretty much just a random guy and it happened to drug them or whatever, and they happened to live or something. Uh, in my brain, in my fucking mind, I start to think like, what is that person doing right now? Like, obviously they're old, but I bet that is something that you can't ever forget because that wasn't like no normal thing. It's like they obviously saw it in the news and everything during like 91 and like the 80s and stuff, like him being arrested, and they were like, I was with that guy, and he actually drugged me and everything, and it's insane. Jeffrey Dahmer ends up dying in a by being beaten to death by an inmate in prison, and they actually showed that in the show as well. This is not even like something. It's impossible for me to say that this is a spoiler, because like nothing's really a spoiler when it comes to this show. This all happened. It's insane the fact that you can look this up on an article. You can't just be like, oh no, spoilers ahead. No, like this all really happened, and like the things that like, I didn't even have to even like look up uh on like any other further things that he did, or try to watch the show again to try to reminisce on like what I actually saw so I can make this review like possible. Like no, I you can just look up a random article and then it happens to just be there. I feel like the one murder that I feel like a lot of people got really disgusted by was the 14-year-old boy. His name was Konrak Synthesophoam, I think. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Younger brother, well, his older brother got molested by Dahmer, and but his younger brother, which is Konrak, he died. He he passed away from the murder of from Dahmer. But like the first 5 episodes, it's like it's pretty much just a full like biography of like the first half of how this psychopath like started from like growing up from being a kid, from being in high school, and what actually brought him to being what he is later on in the years for what he did. It's just crazy, like how he actually did that. He always drugged them. He always he see like this is why like I wanted to make this video specifically like this. It wasn't just a I don't want to make it like, oh yeah, like how's it going, guys, blah blah blah. There's like specific words and this and that. I just want to just have one continuous shot, no music, just telling you about Jeffrey Dahmer pretty much. That's really it. Nothing, nothing more. You guys gotta watch the show. It it takes a turn. It really you start to you start to feel bad. You start to feel bad about all the families that they lost. Uh, they were hurt and was just shocked that they lost a lot of loved ones. Hell, you actually start to like feel bad about Jeffrey Dahmer's like parents and stuff. Like they the mom is still caring for his son, let alone the fact that she knows that he's just a psycho. Um, Jeffrey Dahmer's dad. Oh wait, what's his name? I forgot his name. Once again, I'm just trying to like let me look it up. Uh, yeah, Richard Jenkins. Oh my God, he played a phenomenal role, and I'm not trying to make a joke here or anything because this is like a serious matter. It really did hurt a lot of people. Uh, but Richard Jenkins always tried to give. Uh, he played his Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, which is Lionel. So Lionel pretty much always tried to give Jeffrey so much. He tried to even though he wasn't that up when it came to his grades, even though he did graduate, he wasn't like honors or anything. He was just a normal student. He didn't want to go to community college or anything. So at that point, Lionel decided to just say, "Fuck it, we're gonna bring it to Ohio State or like pretty much like just a big college. Pretty much, he got him the hookup, and Jeffrey got in. Then he already got expelled. What do you know? Like everything went up, and then they go down. He always hooked him up with some jobs, lost them because he did some weird fucking shit. Uh, he even told him to go to the military. Like he brought him into the military. I felt like Jeffrey's dad. I he was completely like heartbroken and everything because he's like, it sucks because I know that my son's fucking weird. He did a lot of bad fucking things, and the thing is that he's my son. It's hard to fucking, you know, it's hard to just like think about like, yo, the, my son is doing all this fucked up shit. It's just like he's your son. You obviously still love your son. It's just kind of hard to comprehend on that, you know. Um, I feel like a big role that was taken by this whole show was Nisa Nash. Niecy Nash was well, I know her from Reno 911. She's an amazing actress. She played the famous and late Glenda Cleveland, and pretty much she was the next door neighbor of Jeffrey Dahmer. And she witnessed this all from seeing the victims going into her to his house, hearing it through the vent of like actual murders and like screaming and you know struggling fighting with Jeffrey Dahmer, and then also getting cut up, hearing limbs being sawed and everything. She heard all that, and pretty much the police always ignored her because it doesn't really mean that he's doing all that. And cops back then, obviously the fact that she's a black woman, they they looked at it like listen, lady, like he's not doing anything wrong. We went to his house, blah blah blah. Like we'll send someone, but like when they do that, it's not really that serious. It's always something like we'll just check in, see what the fuck's going on, and then nothing happens. And like the thing is that Jeffrey Dahmer like let anyone in. He was just like, yeah, yeah, come on in, and like he anyone they would just believe what he would say, but he wouldn't. But cops back then they didn't believe in like what black people had to say though. It was race a lot of racism back then, and especially during this whole era of Jeffrey Dahmer doing all these fucked up shit to people. Um, Cops would just come into his house. Like he would let them in and everything. It smelled like dead corpses and stuff in his house. And they would say like, "Oh, what's that like awful stench?" And then they would like he would just say like, "Oh, it's just bad meat. It went bad, and I threw it away, but the stench is still there. I gotta like remove it and stuff." And cops just believed it. Hell, when I mentioned earlier about the 14-year-old boy, he actually escaped, but he was drugged up and everything that he couldn't even speak. When they found him, and the cop, well, Glenda actually found them, and Glenda's kids actually found him, and they were trying to help him out. They gave him a blanket and everything. They called the cops, and when they heard that Jeffrey Dahmer was actually taking care of the kid, he just said, "Oh, he was just a boyfriend," and that's it. And the cops just believed it. Compared to a black woman that was completely worried, like, no, there's no way. This kid looks very, very young. It's not like 19. He kept saying he was 19, but he wasn't. He was 14, and the cops just let him be. And what's crazy is that for any of you guys that did not know, the same two cops that actually led the 14-year-old boy go back into Jeffrey Dahmer's home, and then he he ended up dying. But like still like when they brought him back into the house and everything, those two cops got rewarded. They I think they got like a they got paid while being in home for like a few days because of their act. But when they came back, people were clapping that they were back, and also they won. Those two cops won awards, and they retired in 2017, and until this day, it was just like that's when you knew that like cops weren't good back then at all, and we're having that issue like right now, which is fucking insane. Um, but the thing is that like there were a lot of famous people that were in this show. Molly Ringwald, which is she plays Sherry, which is the stepmom of Jeffrey Dahmer. Colin Ford. There was I forgot his name, but he played a I would say like he played a father for church. He played a character in the church, and he was actually the dad of Even Stevens. That's what I was gonna say, but I don't know the actor's name. I forgot what it was. But I think you guys know. If you guys seen Disney's Even Stevens, like the show or even the movie, the bald guy, he was in in this mini series. I've been talking for 28 minutes, and I'm kind of like a lost of words. I'm like, what the fuck? I pretty much just witnessed, but this is a an insane story. High ratings and everything right now. It's blowing up, and we just need to just remember that these were real people, and there is a lot of fucked up shit that you start to see in this show, like for real. Um, just uh, keep your mind open. Try to actually have things around you that will always make you happy. Video games, your family, your loved ones, pets, all that. Like I have two ferrets, and I have like two awesome brothers, and I have my mom and my dad that I live with, and pretty much just have like a couple of friends I like to talk to. When I watch this, it's dark. It's really really dark, and I feel like I would like for a lot of you guys to actually check out this video because this is not no ordinary review that I'm talking about. This actually happened, and I know I said that like 3 times, 4 times, and I sound like a broken record, but um, check this out and try to hang in there and always remember that there's always family around you that got your back and will always love you and everything. And just be careful out there. There's just looking at this kind of reminded me of just how just how easy like anyone can just fall for something like Tinder dates or like grinder dates and stuff. Like people would just be like, hey, just come through, come over, blah blah blah, and this and that, and then you don't know what will happen. I'm not saying that this would happen, well, we don't know, but I'm just saying that, like, just be careful out there, guys. This is watching this, you start to just like reminisce. I'm just like, you can't really trust anyone. Really, like, you really can't. And Jeffrey Dahmer kind of portrayed that, like, he was that nice that apparently all the victims just trusted him. And no, it was terrible. It's awful. This show was was something. It was really really something. I can't even say the show was great. You can't even say that the show was phenomenal. Great actors, and like, it was like amazing actors. They picked a good selection of people, especially Evan Peters. I give him the full 9 yards for that. But I would say, yeah, go give it a shot. It's on Netflix. It's 10 episodes, and each episode, some of them go for an hour, some of them go for like 45 minutes, and yeah, I would rate this show. I would rate this show like 9 out of 10. Reason why I don't give it that extra number, the full 10 out of 10, it's because it did start off a little bit slow. Um, and from the first 5 episodes, it was just him just growing up and just being weird. And I'm not saying that, oh, I just wanted to see the kills. Like, that's kind of fucked up to say. No, like, I wasn't like that. I was generally intrigued on why Jeffrey would even do this and what was his mindset going through when it came to that. And they still didn't even explain that, to be honest. He it kind of showed that, like, it was all due to like him growing up with his dad and like dissecting like roadkill, and it led to something more. But I just wanted to know, like, what, because like it turned him on of like feeling organs, looking at like how shiny blood was and everything, and he like and he always wanted to like try it out, taste it and everything like that, and he did it. That's how he became a cannibal. But um I would say the sixth episode was an episode that really hurt me the most, because that was with the guy named Tony. That was he was black, he was gay, and he was deaf. And they showed you his whole story on trying to be a model, trying to find love at first sight, trying to find like that one special person, and he wanted to be acknowledged to be like this amazing person, and he didn't want his flaws to block him out. The fact that he was gay, and during back in the day, if someone was gay, you were afraid to touch them because you were afraid that you might get AIDS or something. Um, when one, he was black, and obviously racism was occurred during the 70s and the 80s and everything, of course, and also he wanted to do like, and also he was deaf. There was nothing wrong with someone being deaf, but like, obviously certain relationships that he wanted to be loved, and he wanted to have a boyfriend that he can be with. It really, it hurt him, because whenever the next guy would just come up to him and say, wait, are you deaf? And he's like, yes. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go find my friends, and then they leave, or they're just like, oh wait, I'll be right back, and they won't come back, and it's just like, great. Jeffrey Dahmer was the one person that he didn't want to do that. Like he wanted to actually be with him. And there was actually scenes from the sixth episode, from the seventh episode, where Jeffrey Dahmer could have drugged them early enough, and he didn't because he actually wanted to be with Tony. And there was a moment that like he grabbed a hammer and he wanted to smash his head in the beginning before Tony left for work, but then he didn't. But the problem is that he already still did what he did when obviously we all knew what the fuck happened, and when apparently Tony had to come back because he forgot something in his apartment, and then that's when Jeffrey did not hold back and lost the life of Tony. So later on in the episodes, I would say that it started to get more dark, started to get more timid, and it was so bad how like when he finally got arrested, you see all these people that were just like hurt and trying to try to prove a point, trying to shut down like what cops did and everything. It it led to a lot of people being heartbroken. The fact that they lost a lot of their families, it's just insane. So like that's the only thing that I would say that makes it a 9 out of 10 is the fact that it kind of started off a little bit slow from the first episode and the second episode. It the first episode did give me the gave me the feel that like okay, this is going to be an insane show. I gotta just clutch it right now. Um, the thing is that it just started off it just started off from the first episode just showing us uh Jeffrey Dahmer and Tracy, where Tracy escaped, and then we're like and I remember I showed my brother Juan the episode, and even he said like, oh, this is kind of weird how they're showing this as the first episode though, because like this is the last survivor technically. This is the last person that he was trying to kill, where he actually escaped from Jeffrey Dahmer, and then he actually brought the cops over, and the cops actually listened. And at first they were kind of meh about it. They were just like, all right, you don't mind if we come inside and stuff like that? Like, yeah, sure, why not? And once again, he had a lot of evidence around, like a drill with blood on it and like photos in his drawer and stuff like that. And that's how he got caught, pretty much. He went to the room. Like, oh, can I just open the drawer and let me just grab the key? And he's like, no, 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 it's in that drawer. He says like, yeah. And then the cop decides to go, and then Jeffrey was actually kind of worried the fact that he was gonna get caught. Then that's when he decides to just open the drawer, and he saw the photos, and he saw like before and after photos of like people that he took photos of, and then all of a sudden the next photo was like him being decapitated. It was a lot of dark scenes, a lot of dark scenes, and that's when he finally got caught. So that was like the first episode, and then they started to like reminisce, like, okay, now we're gonna show you how it all started. This is him in the 60s, like 1966, and he was 6 years old because he was born in the 60s, and it kind of grew from there. They talked about a lot of other infamous killers and stuff, um, and pretty much it led to him being killed like near the end of the whole show before he got baptized. And ironically enough, he wanted to be a changed man when he found God, but for what he did, he can't really take that back. I'm gonna give all my condolences to the families, of course. This is not really something that, oh, I'm just doing it for views or anything. It is a scary and traumatizing story, and um, I think the people that directed it and everything, and the picked the right cast and explained the story well put out. And yeah, it's your boy Mouse. And take it easy, guys. Be safe. I'll check you guys out on the next video.